Hey everybody, it is Jay Baer from Convince and Convert, and welcome to Marketing Marvels, the show where I recommend to you marvels of marketing, unbelievable software, unbelievable technology that I personally endorse and support. Nothing on this show is something that I don't actually really love and cherish. We're going to give you a little demo to kind of see how this technology works. We're also going to have a very special offer towards the end of the show where if you like what we show you today on Marketing Marvels, you can figure out how to get a very special offer on that particular piece of technology. And today, I could not be more excited to have on the Marketing Marvels program a dear friend of mine. He is the Vice President of Marketing of Zignal Labs, coming in from San Francisco. It is the one that only Mr. Tim Hayden. Tim, thanks so much for being on Marketing Marvels.
You got it, Jay. Thanks so much for having me on Marketing Marvels, my first time. It's always a pleasure to be with you, and especially here hanging out.
Hanging out on the Googles. Look, I love what you guys are doing at Zignal Labs. I think anybody who's listening to Marketing Marvels, either live or recorded, has a sense for what social media listening is. Probably many people here have some sort of social media listening software, or certainly have a concept, have seen it in the past. But Zignal Labs kind of takes that whole concept of listening and blows it up. It's sort of listening on steroids for a number of reasons. One, Zignal Labs has true real-time listening, true in-the-moment, complete fire hose access to Twitter and everything else. And so you're going to get everything, not just kind of intermittent bits and pieces of what's being said about your brand. But the other thing I think is really extraordinary, and we'll see it in the demo, is that you can really customize how you look at your data. You can really cross-cut everything in a very intuitive way. Now, look, there's a lot of social listening platforms out there that allow you to customize your dashboards, but I got to tell you, it's not very intuitive to do so. It's actually really hard. Zignal Labs, as you'll see in a second, is super easy to use, especially considering how powerful it really is. The third thing that I think sets Zignal Labs apart and why I really love it is that, you know what, a lot of the chatter about your business, about your brand, isn't actually in social media, and I say that as a social media guy. And a lot of the chatter about your brand takes place in traditional media, in other venues. In fact, the research from Keller Fay Group says that 90% of word of mouth takes place offline. I certainly believe that to be true. And so Zignal Labs combines in a very important and real way online listening with offline listening, and that is really hard to come by. There's not many companies who can do that, and there's none that are as powerful and as easy to use as Zignal Labs, which is why I'm so delighted to bring it to you on Marketing Marvels. Tim, what did I leave out? What did I neglect to mention in terms of my explanation of Zignal Labs?
Well, I don't think that you really left anything out at all, Jay. I mean, I think to be a little more specific, there are things that happen on television. There are things that happen in print media. There are things that happen on any number of the vast number of video networks, not just Vimeo and YouTube, that are out there today. Instagram, as we've seen over the past 3 to 5 years, just being such a powerful voice across all demographics. But public Facebook pages, I mean, there are things, you don't need the anonymous insight, you need to know what actual people are saying on a public Facebook page. So you've got that ability to bring it all in and to process it the second you get your hands on it, visualize it, and use it for the reporting, the decision making, whatever the case may be. That's what we do here at Zignal Labs, and really excited to get into a demo and show you what we're doing.
Let's do it. Robert Fleck is here also from Zignal Labs, and he's going to walk us all through a little demo. Now, look, this is not going to be everything that Zignal Labs does. That would be impossible. For that, you need to actually get a real demo, an official demo from Robert and his team. But we're going to hit some of the highlights. You can get a sort of a feel for just how powerful it is and why Zignal Labs is, in fact, a marketing marvel. Robert, are you ready to take it away?
Sure am, Jay. Thank you.
Let's do it.
So what we're looking at here is the platform itself, and so going back to Tim's point, you know, we're not just ingesting data in real time. We're actually computing it and then visualizing it within the platform in real time. So you're noticing how everything is changing based on what the conversation is going and where things are headed. So I'm going to start here at the bottom on the real-time trending topics. So as the conversation is being pulled in, we're going to be able to visualize it and show you what's going on. So certain words are going to change and become larger just based on where the conversation is headed. Everything is really intuitive within the platform in the sense of you can drill in further and start understanding, you know, what's behind certain topics and what's actually driving the conversation and who it is. So if I wanted to drill into the particular word here, like one, for example, I can click into that, and it's going to give me another window. It's going to actually show me the content behind that particular topic or word. To the right of that, we have what we refer to here internally as the Spidey chart, but I think better name for it would really be the evolutionary chart. So what it's showing you is literally the evolution of the conversation and where it's coming from and how it's progressing. So the blue nodes is going to be the publication from where the particular story is coming from. The red nodes are the story themselves. So if you notice, some of these blue nodes have multiple red nodes coming out of them. So those are multiple stories coming from a publication. The purple or pink nodes there, that's the syndication of the story, or the tweet, the original tweet of that story. And then the green nodes are the retweets of that story. So you can literally stay on the pulse of the conversation and follow how it's evolving, where it's coming from, what publications. And we can actually see those stories here on the left side. So you see the top stories coming out. The larger the node is, the more of the impact that particular story has or that publication has. Going up to the right, top right here, we see real-time trending hashtags. Now we can uncover real-time trending hashtags, stories, and images, but I just have hashtags up here right now. And what it's showing you is the momentum of the conversation. So imagine this being not 12, but 50 hashtags, or 50 stories, or 50 images. And we see a story going from number 2 to number 8 to 15 and so on down. We also see another one that's moving up from 48 to 32 to 25 and so on. What's the more important hashtag or story for you to pay attention to? Is it the one gaining traction or losing traction? The beauty behind our platform is, again, because we're able to compute all of this data in real time and then visualize it, you're able to see what to pay attention to and what you need to focus on as it's happening. And real time is fantastic, and it's great to have, and it's important, especially in the day and age we live, but also it's important to be able to kind of look historically at what's going on. So what we're looking at right now is an overview of AT&T over the last 5 days. We can see the total mentions, the media breakdown, so where the conversation is coming from. Is it traditional? Is it social? We also see that the impression count or potential impression count by sources as well. We uncover a lot of trending information. So on the right-hand side, you see trending hashtags and emojis, and emojis is becoming such a popular way for people to communicate. Yeah. It was really a huge step for our development team to be able to surface some of this information. On the left-hand side, you see for more of a traditional sense, so trending stories and trending topics from a traditional output, and we're able to surface up a lot of that trending information for you quickly. I'm going to scroll down a little bit beyond the popular tweets and sentiment analysis, which I think are more or less self-explanatory, and focus in on some of this top author information that we divvy up here. So we focus in on top authors in 2 lights. So first by mention count on the left here. So who's the loudest in the room? Who's contributing the most amount of content? And then to the right of that, you see by influencer. They're not necessarily pushing out the most content, but when they speak, people are paying attention. People are listening to them. And Jay, I've seen you at the top of the list a number of times
yes.
When we're monitoring different conferences, so always good to see you up there.
Thank you.
I'm going to jump ahead a little bit to another dashboard. So this dashboard here, what we're looking at is a competitive breakdown of the 4 brands in the telecommunications space, so AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, and Sprint. As I pointed out, everything is very intuitive and drillable within our platform. So you're noticing some of these annotations here that correlate with the numbers on these spikes. And what that is I can take a deeper dive in a particular moment in time, and I'm going to blow this up a little bit so you can see a little bit better here. And what I can see now is for T-Mobile between 6 and 7 a.m., here are the trending stories that were moving the needle, and who was the individuals that were driving that conversation now, and what topics were emerging within that spike in time. Any popular tweets and analytics, along with another trending topic cloud here. And just for sake of the demo, I'm going to copy this here. The beauty behind our platform is that we're actually able to annotate or save ourselves a note. And this does 2 things for me. And I'm going to zoom back out here. So first of all, next time I jump into the platform, I don't have to take that deep dive into that spike. I know exactly what that's for because it's going to correlate with that number. Also, any of these dashboards, and these are fully customizable dashboards, you can put them in whatever order you want just by drag and drop, and then clicking into adding widgets on the right-hand side, choosing the widget that you want to put in place, and again, dragging and dropping into whatever order. But the beauty here is you can take any one of these dashboards, and what we can do is create a report with that. And so here's a report that I created earlier. And what you're noticing here is, and again, I'll blow this up so you can see a little bit easier. What you're noticing is that those same annotations that I put in earlier are on this report, along with any summary that I wanted and whatever widgets that I wanted to add in whatever order. And I can send this off to anybody who needs to see this report, regardless of whether they have a login for Zignal or not. And they're going to receive a PDF version, and here's an example of that. PDF version with whatever widgets I added in, that summary report, the annotations. So you're not going to get a phone call later saying, great, we got a spike. Well, what does it mean? You can actually add that right into the report for them. And again, just to take you through that report, whatever I needed to add in for this particular report can be added in. The beauty is that we can take this even further is start automating some of this reporting capability. So we can, what we refer to as scheduled briefings and reportings, they can start going out at whatever time with whatever time frame you need it to go out in, i.e. Monday morning, give me a recap of what happened over the weekend. Or, you know what, during my lunch break, I want to see what happened in the last 24 hours and quickly be able to see that while I'm eating my food. Or let's say Friday afternoon, show me what happened throughout the week. So being able to not only automate that reporting capability, but also alerting functionality, where we can set up different thresholds within the platform and say, you know, if this situation happens, alert me. If it happens more than once, alert me. If it happens 10 times in a certain period of time, alert me. So living and breathing in the cloud.
What kind of a situation might that be? It's like a dramatic change in sentiment, or an increase in negative tweets, or you know, what would be something that might trigger that kind of alerting functionality?
Yeah, great question. So we can set it up in any way the client or customer feels they want to. So whether that's a drop in sentiment analysis or a spike in a piece of the conversation. So for example, if we're monitoring for AT&T and all of a sudden there's a spike in drop call or drops to bad service, in that conversation, we can alert them and say there's something going on. Jump in the platform and see what it is.
I love how easy it is to make those reports, right? You just drag and drop, press a button, boom, here's your PDF report. Because a lot of these tools, you've got the data in some form or fashion, but then taking the data out of the tool and putting it into a report that you can give your boss or other people in the organization takes hours. And that's not very high value time, right? You're basically making reports, and you're not learning anything. You're basically just doing Excel formatting, etc. So this is really, really a time saver.
Yeah, that's a great point. We actually spoke with all of our clients about 18 months ago and asked them, what's one thing you spend the most time doing? And that's exactly to your point. They're spending hours creating these reports and going from multiple platforms, 3, 4, 5 different platforms to get this information, and then exporting it to Excel, and then manipulating it to create one report where you can quickly do that within our platform within 5, 6 clicks.
You talked about that you've got real-time trending hashtags up there in the top right-hand corner, but you could also pull in real-time trending images, I think you said. Would those be images that people have shared in social media, or images that they've linked to? Where do those come from?
Yeah, great question. So those are images that people have been sharing on social media. So we're looking at those, and then we're able to surface up your top trending ones and how they're trending. Are they gaining momentum? Are they losing momentum? Is it something you need to know about and quickly? That's what we're able to show you here.
That's great. We talked a little bit in the intro about one of Zignal Labs' true sort of better mousetrap features is the ability to pull in online and offline kind of traditional media mentions. How would you get at that in the tool? If you said, hey, what's being said about me in the newspaper or on TV, how would you get into that?
Great question. So multiple places where you can go for that. So as I kind of pointed out here, on the right-hand side you have the social end. On the left-hand side, you have the more of a traditional side from a trending perspective. So here you can see the actual trending stories from a traditional side of things and what's actually moving the needle. Or if I want to take a deeper dive into actual print content, this is all where our print content lives. Beyond that, what I can do is I can go into our newsroom. And what the newsroom does is gives me the ability to sift through all the data. So the data, this is where all the data lives and breathes, and now I can filter it down however I see fit. So I can say, just show me traditional content. So here's all the news, and here's all the blogs, all the way down to television and broadcast here at the bottom. Or I can, like I said, sift through this, and I can say, slice up the whole conversation around AT&T by the iPhone. and now I'm only looking at conversation that's specific to AT&T and the iPhone,
Nice.
or whatever other set of filters that I want to set up here on the left-hand side. This way it'll take 40,000 pieces of content and bring it down to a manageable 100, 120, whatever the number might be. But this way you're actually getting that important piece of the conversation that you really need to focus on at any given moment.
Awesome. I love it. Thanks very much. That was a terrific demo. I hope people take advantage of the opportunity to go do the full demo and see all the stuff it can do. I mean, this is just a tiny tip of the iceberg kind of look at it, but man, it is so easy to use. It's so intuitive for such a lot of data sets. So great job by the engineering team.
They thank you for that.
Awesome.
Always.
Awesome. I love those guys. Okay, so Tim, tell me, who is this for? Like, if somebody's like, okay, I need some listening, like, who's the right customer for Zignal Labs?
Well, we serve most often. We serve folks that are in digital analytics, that are in corporate communications, that are in marketing or public relations. Doesn't always have to be a Fortune 500 company. We have small agencies that use us to be able to craft up new ideas just by looking at the data, to be able to look at customer insights or competitive insights and then be able to transfer that into what's next from a planning standpoint. So I think it's anyone who's in a volatile market. If you're publicly traded, if you are innovating at a speed that you're going to have bugs in your software or recalls in your products, it's just natural. You're going to fail fast. You want to be able to gauge how people love it and what people do to critique it. This is a fantastic way to do it and do it every split second. So I don't really think it's relegated to people that have many different locations or tens of thousands of customers, but certainly those are the folks who probably are using the largest breadth of the solution.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if you're really serious about listening, there's no better tool out there, and you price it to some degree based on that volume, right? So it's how much chatter there is, how many things you are analyzing about that particular company, as well as how many people are allowed to log into the tool inside the organization, and then how many different things you're looking at. So in the example that Robert showed us, you had AT&T and Sprint and Verizon and T-Mobile, so that'd be sort of four profiles, right? Each of those companies is a profile, and so you might want to analyze your competitors, or maybe you've got maybe you're a conglomerate that has multiple brands, and you want to roll them all. It's like Yum Brands, for example, right? They have KFC and Taco Bell, right? And so and maybe some others, and so you want to be able to maybe look at those side by side, etc.
That's right. That's right. I mean, you may want to analyze an event. You want to see everyone who's attending a sports entertainment event or a trade show or a conference. So you may have a profile specific to that, and you create issues within that. And the more you're doing and creating that view, the more data, obviously, that you're more than likely to use. It depends on actually how popular it is that dictates that ultimately. But setting up those profiles, a lot of what Robert showed you from a competitive comparison standpoint, that's what you have to be able to frame what all is being said about one thing versus another. So no doubt about it, it's a simple way that we price it, and again, as I said earlier, no two customers are using it the same way, so there's a bit of customization with it.
And you come in and help people set up those profiles, right? And say, okay, look, in our experience, here's the things that you should be listening for. Here's how you should configure these dashboards initially. Obviously, it's massively customizable, as we've seen, but your team is pretty hands-on in terms of getting people off the launching pad with Zignal Labs.
That's right. Every single one of our customers is assigned a dedicated customer success rep. That customer success rep is somebody who is looking ambiently at best practices, but also looking at that specific vertical or companies like it and how can they leverage it. I think it's always that way, and as you and I both know, change is the only constant right now in the technology world and in the changing behavioral world that technology is forcing. So I think week in and week out, it's a constant internal conversation that we're having here to better serve our customers and show them the best way to use the tool, get the most out of it.
Yeah, because if they're not using the insights that Zignal Labs provides to make their business better, eventually they're like, well, we don't need to know this. But that's why it's so important to sort of merchandise those insights inside the organization. We promised at the very beginning of the show that there'd be a special offer for Marketing Marvels of viewers. That's you, whether it's live or on demand. Tim, what should people do if they want to kick the tires on this sucker?
Well, they need to go to zignallabs.com/marvels. Zignallabs.com/marvels. Go there, and there's a form to fill out, and what that's going to do is going to connect you with someone who will be able to have that quick consultation with you and determine whether or not we can set you up with a free trial. It is a free trial for Marvel's viewers today that we're going to be putting together, and a bonus on top of that, the first 20 people who click on that and fill out that form are going to get a T-shirt from Zignal Labs.
And I have one of those T-shirts. I should have worn it to the show. That would have been smart, but I didn't. I forgot. Sorry. They're pretty sweet. Like, look, T-shirts are T-shirts, but they're pretty nice. Nicely done. It is above the level of the typical T-shirt you get, so that's very kind of you, Tim. Thanks very much. So go to Zignal, that's a Z, zignallabs.com/marvels. Fill out the form. See if it makes sense for them to give you a free trial, because they don't hand them out very often, trust me. It's pretty powerful stuff. And the first 20 folks get a free T-shirt, zignallabs.com/marvels. Thanks very much for that offer, Mr. Hayden. Let me ask you a question. You've been, some people have known you for a while. You've worked in agencies. You're an author. You're an entrepreneur. How did you get to Zignal Labs? Like, why? You could have done a lot of things. Why did you choose to go be VP of marketing of this company?
Great question. I've known of the company for quite some time. Adam Boe, who's the president and co-founder, he was a client of mine. He was a client of mine when I had my consultancy, when I owned an agency, when I started another software company, 44 Doors years ago. So I've known Adam for years, and over time got to know him, got to know Josh, the CEO, and others on the team. They put me on the advisory board. And a little more than a year ago, they asked me to come out and consult a little bit, and a month later, they convinced my family to move here from Austin, Texas, and be the VP of marketing. So that's how that went down. And you knew me when I was a mobile strategist, somebody who was telling people whether to build an app or a mobile website. And honestly, everything Zignal Labs is doing is a byproduct of how fast the world is moving because of mobility. So it was a natural fit.
I love it, and I'm a big fan of the company and the technology, as you know, which is why you're on Marketing Marvels. But let me ask you a last question. Again, you've been in this space for a long time. What's a marketing marvel to you? Like, what solution should I have on this show that you're like, that's my favorite thing out there other than Zignal Labs? What do you love? What's a marketing marvel for Tim Hayden?
That's a tough one. I think there's a number of tools that we use here. I'm a big fan of Vidyard right now. We've been using Vidyard instead of just posting videos to YouTube. We still do that, but now we use Vidyard to provide us with analytics that then talks back to Pardot, which is our marketing automation system, and is letting us know as we send a video out in an email, we post it to social media, if people we already know or people we want to know are actually the folks that are watching those videos. Likewise, letting us know what parts of the video are they watching, if they're watching it over and over again, or what part did they stop listening or stop viewing the video. So I think you and I've talked about it before with everything that's happened with Instagram and now Snapchat, Google Hangouts as we're doing right now, Facebook Live. That visual experience is critical. It works for us when we demo our product. It works for us when we want to tell our story, and Vidyard's been one heck of a tool to help us better understand how that's performing.
Yeah, that's a great recommendation. I love the guys at Vidyard. I did a webinar with them not too long ago. I actually used their personalized, customized video solution when I launched my new book, Hug Your Haters. That's a great suggestion. Need to get them on Marketing Marvels because they are definitely a marketing marvel. They have a superior mousetrap when it comes to video. Great suggestion. Tim, thank you so much for being on the show. Thanks to Robert. Thanks to everybody at Zignal Labs for building such a spectacular tool set that really is a marketing marvel. I hope everybody takes advantage of the offer. Go to zignallabs.com/marvels. Check that out. See if you can get the free demo. Try and angle for a t-shirt. You will be glad that you did. Make sure you tune in for the next episode of Marketing Marvels. I do this about every 3 weeks. You can find them, of course, on the YouTube channel. We also have them as blog posts at convinceandconvert.com. But the best way to make sure that you see every episode is to just subscribe. So go to bit.ly/marketingmarvels. That's bit.ly/marketingmarvels. You'll be able to subscribe and get notified each time we roll out a new episode. Tim, any closing thoughts?
No, I'd say just stay split second, my friend. Just know what's around you at all times, because you don't know when the good's going to happen, and you certainly don't want to get surprised by the bad.
Situationally aware Mr. Tim Hayden is, and the folks at Zignal Labs can help you do that as well. Marketing Marvels is a production of Convince and Convert Media. We have lots of amazing podcasts and other content, including Social Pros, Content Pros, the new show that we're working on now called Influence Pros, which is all about the influencer marketing business, and The Business of Story, our show all about Hollywood storytelling principles incorporated into your business and your marketing. So we've got lots of shows every single week for you. Go to convinceandconvert.com/podcasts, convinceandconvert.com/podcasts for all of the stuff that we bring every single week, or you can find them on iTunes. Until next week, or the next episode, I should say, of Marketing Marvels, I am Jay Baer from Convince and Convert. He's Tim Hayden from Zignal Labs. Thanks for watching.
Adios.